Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna do a new tier list today. So typically I'd have some of the boys with me on this, right, from the squad, but I'm recording this very early, as in I work night shift. I'm the only one who does. But let's get to it. Alright, so we're talking about hand traps for the post-Valiant Smashers. Post-Valiant Smashers. As you can see, we got a nice little lineup here. Figure we'll go ahead and get to it. Again, my name is Mr. Extra from Team Extra. Come on, you all have heard that enough. Anyways, let's get right down to it and get into the discussion. Alright, so post Valiant Smasher. So, first thing I got on the chopping block today is Bystials. I use Magma as an example because he's my favorite. But Bystials right now in this format is pretty interesting, right? Because there is a Centaurian running around, right? Which right now the deck mainly just Calamity locks people. That is about it. But Bystials right now, I wouldn't main deck them unless you're like playing dragons or something weird, right? But definitely sideboard worthy for those weird matchups. I can think of like a handful of decks in the format that it's good against. It is good against Unchained. It is good against Centaurian, which Centaurian is relatively new. It's very mid against Horus, so I won't really count that as being a standalone deck, even though I play Horus. It's really good against Mannadium. Like, it's got some good matchups here and there. It's good against Lab. Like, Labyrinth gets eaten by Bystials. If you have two Bystials while Lab's trying to do their thing, they are not going to do their thing after that, guys. So, sideboard worthy, wouldn't main deck it unless your deck literally plays dragons, but we'll go on to the next one. So, Skullmeister. Skullmeister turns off graveyard stuff right now. Oh, and back to the dragon talk real quick for the Bystials. Tier is back in the format, so there's that too. But, so, Skullmeister right now, I feel like would be, I want to say has potential because he's kind of slow. A little slow. Potential, I mean, if you're going to stop graveyard stuff, you might as well. There's a bunch of other ways to do that. It's okay. I mean, if you're doing, like, real budgety, but, you know, Rarity Collection made everything budgety, which is good for you new players here, which I love the Rarity Collection. Watch all those people squirm about their sitting on max rarity stuff for years and not moving it, right? It was pretty entertaining to me, personally. But Skullmeister definitely has potential. Do I think it's amazing right now? It's okay. Alright, let's talk about my favorite, Droll. Droll is absolutely main deck worthy if you can do it. If your deck has the space to play Droll, you are playing Droll, guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you. There is a lot of decks out there that search. I mean, if you draw Mannadium, that is it. If you draw Tier, it does slow them down quite a bit, depending on what they're trying to add. And it kind of kills their follow-up a little bit, which is so-and-so. Unchained, it doesn't do anything to. Rescue Ace, you draw that Fenrir that they special summon, then it's pretty good. But there's a lot of decks out there that search right now. We're in a very diverse format at the moment. And Droll, I feel like if you can main deck it, guys. Alright. Orange Light. So I put this on here just to be a meme, right? Orange Light is not good right now unless you are literally playing one of two decks that I can think of that would play it. And if you were playing Drytron or Madolche in this format, you were crazy. I mean, Madolche wouldn't be bad. Orange Light is back to 3, but it's not really making waves or doing anything, if that makes sense, guys. So, Lancia. Lancia right now is a big hit and miss. Would I put it in the side? I mean, there's not a whole lot of decks that banish right now. I mean, people are still playing Kashtira with more of a control aspect. But, I'd be using this for more than anything to stop, like, Evilly Match or some wild stuff. Or if you're wanting to counteract someone else using Bystials or, I don't know, Sideworthy. And when I say Sideworthy, I'm talking very specific. I mean, if you Lancia Mannadium, they can't go into Astrolabe. You Lancia Unchained, they can't do their Yama play where they set up. But that Yama play they usually do is during your turn most of the time. So that, outside of that, it's kind of a dead card. So, I mean, it's sideworthy. It still does some things, but there are definitely better choices out there. Alright, Contact C. Yeah. Not good right now. I mean, unless you're going against, like, Pearly, which, I mean, Pearly is still out there being a menace, you know. The whole menace right now. Oh, by the way, Lancia is really good against birds, but people don't consider birds as a top tier deck right now, even though, like, I think it's in this order for top 5 that I can think of offhand from personal choice. It's got to be Rescue Ace, then Unchained, then Mannadium, then I want to say Pearly, and then Labyrinth for the top 5 that I think are like the current powerhouses running around. But outside of that, it's not doing a whole lot. I mean, everyone's playing Little Knight too. Just, it's not that good right now. Now, Bell, ironically enough, I feel like it's borderline right now because, I mean, if you're wanting to stop banishing stuff, you can definitely play Bell a little bit better over than playing Valencia, right? Because Bell will stop that big welcome, Bell will stop the Yama. It'll stop a couple things, realistically. It'll stop the fin. Well, it doesn't really stop the Finner, so to speak, but you get my point. Do I think it's pretty good? I do. Am I playing it right now? I don't have the space for the janky stuff that I plan on playing on Saturday for you guys because I ended up getting my invite out in OTS. So whoever comes across me at Indy as an opponent, prepare to be upset. Alright, anyways, but Bell's okay. Not great. Cherries. No. Just we don't have much to talk about when it comes to cherries because unless you're playing like, I don't know, birds or a deck that does not use the extra deck and you just run cherries that deal with generic decks like Pearly or Reveal the Baron or Reveal the Little Knight, stuff like that, then it's pretty cool. But chances are it's not going to be super effective unless, I don't know, you already know sitting across from the table who your opponent is before the match starts, right? And then you can determine at that point. But I mean, hey, if you know that much, you might as well know enough to win without even having to use the cherries to begin with. Alright, Imperm. Imperm is crazy. Imperm needs to be main deck. It is still good. I don't care what anyone says. You'd be surprised how many people say Imperm is bad right now. And those are people you don't listen to. Imperm has been crazy ever since it came out. It's a little, in my opinion, it's still better than Valor, because Valor is limited to main phase during your opponent's turn only. Imperm is crazy, and you can set it, which makes it pretty useful in my opinion still, over Valor, unless you're playing something specific that needs, you know, Valor in rotation, which good luck. Dogwood. Dogwood, I feel like has potential. It's definitely not great, but I feel like it's a little bit better than the other cards right now, mainly because, like, getting a big life advantage either into time at, like, a regional or something is pretty good, in my opinion. You know, Dogwood in the time when you're in the middle of them trying to special summon sounds kind of crazy. I've done it before. I might be doing that on Saturday. We don't know yet. But it has potential to be good. And if you Dogwood someone early, chances are they're not going to end their turn. Because then at that point they would, like, the person Dogwooding would lose half their life. But it might make them slow down a little bit because, you know, you're playing, you Dogwood like a deck that does a lot of summons. You can get up to an additional 10k life just like that, and then your opponent has to climb over that, not to mention your board as well. Alright. Big old Space Rock, Nibiru. Nibiru's crazy right now. I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, if they put out Little Knight, then they're pretty crazy on their own, because, you know, Little Knight with Nib coming down, you can at least save some of your stuff and make the token smaller. But, like, Nib's good. Nib's good against everything right now. The Horus decks, Nib's good against Mannadium. Nib is good against Unchained. Nib is good against as long as you can Nib when the two dogs come out before Wave King Caesar comes out to stop the Nib. Pearly, don't Nib Pearly, especially if they have My Friend Pearly or Street Out. I'm telling you, it is not worth it. They will recur so hard that they will have so many cards in their hand that it will be crazy, and they will just redo what they're doing because, you know, you Pearly players out there, you know what I'm talking about. You guys love Space Rock. You guys love that recursion. But Nib's good against everything. It's even good against Rescue Ace, guys. Come on. Because if you... But chances are, a good Rescue Ace player, they usually stop at 4, or they put out Baron and then stop at 5 with the Baron. But chances are they're going to stop at 4. Alright, let's talk about Crow. Crow is borderline right now. I will explain my hot takes on this. Crow is actually better than Bell right now, mainly because Crow deals with the Pearly matchup really well because you can stop the black from XYZ summoning, you can snipe their trap out of grave to kill the recursion, you can snipe names out of grave too, which, I mean, that doesn't do a whole lot, but you can use it to turn off the Black Cat's effect. Anyways, for Pearly. For Unchained, you banish that Yama as soon as it hits grave, it slows down their comeback. For Mannadium, if you banish their Visus before they can Astral out it, right? Then you kill a lot of their clapback, the recursion, and if they can't do the double Astral out, they can't make a big fat board. And then let's see, whatever Mannadium. Rescue Ace, it's so and so. I mean, you can snipe the cards out of graveyard, which is good, but the problem about like Crow on the Rescue Ace is they can use the field spell to pull back the cards that you've banished, and they can use Preventer to pull back cards that are already banished, like their Hydrant, for example. It's not good against Rescue Ace. It's good against almost everything else, though, guys. It's very, 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 very good against Labyrinth when you snipe those Furnitures and snipe the big welcome out of Graveyard. Crazy. It does a lot. It puts in the work. It puts in the work. Alright, so let's talk about Veiler real quick. Veiler is also borderline right now. It's still better than Bell, because Veiler is still imperm, you know, but your opponent's turn during the main phase imperm, so slow imperm, guys. But Veiler's still pretty good on its own. You can do it multiple times per turn on your opponent's main phase only. But overall, it's still borderline, still better than most of the stuff out here. It definitely isn't side worthy. Borderline means like you can put it in the main or the side. You're not dedicated to have it in the side. That's what borderline means. So it's pretty good. It hits a lot of bases. I mean, it's a hand trap negate. Like, what do you want? It does the job. You can also, I mean, Veiler and Imperm together is pretty good too, because then that's 2 for 1. Well, 2 for 2 actually, but you know what I'm saying. But all right, let's talk about Ghost Mourner. Ghost Mourner, I feel like, is side deck worthy. It's surprisingly crazy. It's definitely better than the other choices right now, because Ghost Mourner says just when your opponent special summons a monster. So if you're going against like Pearly, then they go draw phase and like special summon, let's say White Cat, or well, we'll go Black Cat. Be realistic, because the White Cat negating that's kind of a waste unless it's the only play they got. Hitting that Black Cat to stop their thing in the draw, so they can't play around the draw. So they try to play around the draw. They have Veiler. It's pretty good. The main reason why Mourner is pretty good right now is hitting that Turbulence when it comes out, and then if they don't have the emergency, then you can smack that thing with Mourner, Veiler, or Imperm, and it'll get the job done. It'll get the job done, because if Turbulence doesn't do the set 4 Dream, that deck dies. Simple as that. And then Mourner onto, we'll say Unchained is pretty good, because you can snipe that Yama real quick and then call it a day. I mean, yeah, just call it a day. Or you can snipe that Wave King as soon as it hits the board, and then after you snipe the Wave King, you can nib him. Crazy. Alright, Ash Blossom. 100% in the main. Still probably the best hand trap ever. Every deck's playing this. I have yet to go against a deck that does not search or foolish cards or special summon from the deck. Every single deck does that. There are very little decks. I don't think there's any decks in the format that don't do at least one of those 3 things. Ash Blossom is amazing. You all should still be playing it. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. Phantasme is also really good. Main deck worthy, in my opinion. I'd actually say a side deck worthy, but the best borderline, because we have a little thing called Little Knight out here. And doing Phantasme on the Little Knight is pretty crazy. It turns it off, gets you to draw cards. It's a win-win situation, guys. It also is really good to Little Knight, like, well, not Little Knight, but use Phantasme on just generic stuff. I don't know, Dark Charmer, any just generic stuff. It's mainly just really good to stop the Little Knight. It's just amazing. It's good to stop a lot of stuff. You can use it on the Cross Sheep for Mannadium. You can use it on the Yama and Unchained. A lot of good little choke points that this card can create. I wish I had it set myself, which I don't. And I did not see any reprints of it in the Rarity Collection. So, here we are. Now, let's talk about Shifter. So, Shifter is probably the third best hand trap on this list right now, only because, like, there's a lot of decks that lose to this card, right, in the format. So, Unchained, I don't care what you Unchained players say, you lose to this card. Like, Unchained has a hard time playing through Shifter. If they get Shifter right out the gate, they can't set up their inboard, and they usually can't get in the Wave King Caesar, because Blue Dog has to come back from grave. Red Dog also has to come back from grave. You know, you can't. It kills a lot of recursion. They're not going to Yama. They're probably going to make Rage and pass, and with like an escape or something. Rescue A's can play around Shifter. They're like the only deck in the format I think that is not a Shifter deck that can play around it. Pearly kind of can if they know it's there, if they know their opponent's playing it. If they don't, and you hit it right out the gate, it'll basically turn off the Black Cat effect from XYZ summoning. And it'll definitely slow down the recursion, and then they will undercommit just so they have recursion for next turn, which means you might be able to deal with their board a lot quicker, right? And if your deck can play Shifter, do it. So, like me personally, I play Birds for one of my decks. That's my Shifter deck. Every deck that can play it should probably play it right now because it still hurts everything. Vanadium cannot play under Shifter. Labyrinth kind of can, kind of can't. It just depends, but Labyrinth will definitely not do any of the furniture, and they will not do any of their recursion. They'll lose all their recursion because of Shifter, because those furniture's got to go to grave, they got to proc in grave, and they got to like dump their Welcome Labyrinth or their big Welcome Labyrinth, or whichever. Get some stuff in rotation for some spicy stuff. Okay, Gamma. Gamma has potential, and I'm only putting in potential for one reason. And if you notice, I don't have the other Psyframe card that negates Spell Trap, because if you're playing that, there's no point. Like, you might as well just wait around for Gamma to come back to 3. Gamma comes back to 3, it's crazy. With it staying at 1, unless you're playing like maybe one deck that will kind of utilize the Gamma Driver package, which is a certain variant of dragons that, you know, play Meteor. You play Red Eyes Meteor Dragon. Nah. Gamma's only potential. Gamma's still better than the stuff in the not good section, though. Only because, you know, if you see it, it's going to slap, and if you don't, you're going to get clapped. So, Gamma needs to go to 3 for it to get moved up. It would get moved up to probably a main deck if it does. For the time being, we will set it at potential and see what happens, and hopefully Konami sees this, and they put it back to 3, because that card's crazy. Alright, last card on the list. We have Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre, in my opinion, is sideboard worthy at the end, though. Let me explain why. So, Ghost Ogre is good against a couple different decks right now, right? So, it is bad against Unchained, right? Because Unchained, they want their stuff to get destroyed. When it comes to Rescue Ace, it's okay, not really. I would mainly use it, the Ghost Ogre, the Hydrant. If Hydrant's by itself, that's kind of about it when it comes to that, and I can think off the top of my head. Vanadium, if you hit, like, we'll say if you hit Calarium, or if you hit any of the field spells, or if you hit like Cross Sheep, anything like that on their walk up, then you're doing pretty good. Labyrinth, it doesn't do much to unless you hit their field spell, which they only play a 1-up and they don't need it to play, but it definitely helps the recursion. And yeah, just it's pretty good. When it comes to Centaurian, we'll talk about that real quick. Ghost Ogre trades crazy against Centaurian, mainly because if you hit their field spell and when they try to do the Synchro Summon, you can just pop that shit and get it right out of here. And anyone who doesn't know how Centaurians play, they bring their monsters out and they will special them out from the back row. And they'll do that and then trigger their field spell to Synchro Summon to try to Calamity Lock you. If you hit the cards while they're in the back row, while they're continuous traps with Ghost Ogre, that kind of turns off their whole play, ironically enough. But if you all feel like I missed anything else on this list, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. I'm trying to get more content out to you guys while I have the chance while working night shift as well. For any of you who made it to the end of this video and wish to say anything, feel free. That's why the comment section is there. And last but not least, if you're going to Indy Regional this weekend on the 2nd, I'll be there. Come find me, come say hi, come see. I'll even show you what kind of janky shit that I am playing, guys. I'll have a couple decks on me because I might hustle those side events too. A couple of my boys from the team's going too. Give a shout out to my squad as always, and give a shout out to our fans. We love you guys here at the channel, at Team Extra. And lastly, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Dueling Guard and Chainlink. You guys should know by now what the promo codes are for them. If not, I can leave them down below in the description for the video as well. Without further ado, though, there should be another tier list coming out before the regional, so look for that, Board Breakers. And that's all I got for you guys, so thanks for watching.